You tapping in real quick, nothing major, something light. For some of y'all that been with me from the beginning, you know what I'm talking about? This might be like one of those little, what do they call it on the social medias and shit, a time hop type situation. You know what I'm talking about? I've been tapping in since late March, you know what I mean? First and foremost, this is a parlay channel. Now I do my absolute best to offer my picks, my predictions, my full card breakdowns, post my 60-second quick picks and everything in between. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? And this is the ride we've been on, man. You know what I mean? We in the doghouse. You feel me? I gave y'all on the prelims as dogs. Matter of fact, on the same card as dogs, I gave you Julian Erosa against Ricardo Ramos and Jarno Aarons against the bull Steve. It's a two-leg dog play parlay that cashed very fucking nicely. On top of that, you know what I'm talking about, also gave you Trey, Miles, Mick, Fernando, Peyton, Edmund, and Carl on that fight card. We went 9 for 4. You know what I'm talking about? Not my greatest night. After that, we we did cash Nate Land War as a slight dog play. He did come through, you know what I'm talking about. But then the card after that bounced back significantly. You know what I'm talking about. Nora Cornhole, or whatever her name was a significant, a sizable underdog. And it was unjustifiable in my personal opinion, man. So, you know, we went ahead and wrapped her up. You know what I'm talking about. Also, on that motherfucking card, man, you know what I mean? We had the boy Gene, Victor, Hugo, right? Lucas, Alex, Charlie, Ignacio, Chepe as a dog, Damon as a dog against Alexander. I mean, you know, 111 and 1 on that card, man. You feel me? 300, not my best card. I did give y'all the Aljo and Yuri two-leg parlay play. You know what I'm talking about? That did cash. You feel what I'm saying to you? And Max, as an underdog, cashed on that card. You know what I mean? Again, wasn't my best night. Did make the money back off the Yuri as a slight underdog and Aljo at a nice money line price tag wrapped together in a two-leg parlay. You feel me? And the Max play. You know what I'm talking about? Again, after that, not one of my best cards, man. You know what I'm talking about? UFC 301. That was the, we had an early prelim sweep. Costa, Bonfim, Barboza, and Ruffy. You know what I'm talking about? On the prelims, we had Close and Oral By, and on the main card, we had Caio, Macau, Jose Aldo as an underdog, but also my most confident pick of the card. You know what I'm talking about? And went 10 and 3 on that card, man, and cashed rather nicely. Couldn't be mad. You feel me? St. Louis had a nasty prelim and a parlay joint that just smacked. You know what I'm talking about? And we had a nasty Hardy. We had Veronica Hardy, the boy Charles Johnson, Trey Waters, Tabitha Ricci, the boy Esteban Ribovics, and Chase Hooper wrapped up in a parlay that smacked crazy. You know what I'm talking about? And also, you know, had Sean Woodson, the boy Los, on the main card. Nothing crazy. Went 8 and 4 on that card. You know what I'm talking about? Then we had the down on the prelims. Down on the prelims of the card, we had the nasty prelim sweep. You understand what I'm saying to you? Vanessa Demopoulos at plus 300. Haliatang Haile at plus 130. Carnelosi, Ariane Carnelosi, or however you say her name, at plus 180. Boost, Gato, Sai, and Tom for a clean fucking sweep. I'm talking about a half unit on that motherfucker for 14K and some change, man. I had jokers that tailed that motherfucker that put $10 on it and made almost, you know, 3 grand. You know what I'm talking about? 30 motherfucking units. You feel me? I mean, off of 10 hours type shit. I put a half a man on it, half a unit. If I put the whole, I wish I put the whole unit. I wish I let my balls fall a little bit more on that card. You know what I mean? And secured damn near 30K on the prelims before the main card even started. But with that being said, I did let them drop far enough that I dropped half a man on that parlay, and that was a clean sweep, man. And I got no problem dropping the receipt for anybody that wants to see any of my receipts, man. You know what I'm talking about, man? I put my money where my mouth is, man. And everybody that tapped in for the parlays that week, man. And anybody that tailed that parlays when I said, if you want to get spicy, toss Vanessa in there plus 300, boy. It was a 4-legger, 5-legger, 6-legger, and a 7-legger. Clean sweep on the prelims that week, man. So anything that fell short any time before that for sure made up for all the bags. You know what I'm talking about, man? Because when those 7 legs was done being secured, I was only waiting for one more on the main card, and I had a quarter unit on that for another 11. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, smacked this card wide open. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is, man. After that, I gave y'all another significant underdog in women's MMA where the line was unjustifiable in Tomar. You know what I'm talking about? Then also gave you Taylor, Marcos, Della Rosa, Montel Della Rosa as an underdog. You know what I'm saying? The boy Brad Klein when he was fighting, who the fuck was Ludovic Klein fighting? Thiago Moises, I believe. You know what I mean? And everybody was talking about that fight. I gave y'all motherfuckers Klein, and I gave y'all Punahele Soriano as a sizable underdog against old boy, man. You know what I'm talking about, man? Like, come on, stop the bullshit. And Zach was a slight underdog, man. And Bruna came through. Rao came through. 10-4 on the card all together, but cashed heavy with the parlays, man, because first and foremost, this is what? A motherfucking parlay channel, man. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, man. Gave you, Josephine, Fernandez, Nate Maynes, you know what I'm talking about? The boy Adam Fugit is a slight dog, you know what I mean? Also Lucas Almeida is a slight dog on the main card. Miles and Tatsu. Everybody was talking about the Miles and the Douglas De Silva DeAndrade fight, man. I had y'all on the right side of that, man. When it comes to the most talked about fights, man, I be having y'all on the right side more times than I don't, man. And if you don't want to believe what I'm fucking telling you, that's why we taking this ride real quick. You know what I'm talking about? But Josephine Fernandez, Nate, you know what I'm talking about? Adam is a dog, Lucas is a dog, Miles and Tat in the main event, 8-3, and cash nicely, man. You know what I'm talking about? Then we had Chang Ho, Magomed, Renat Fakrdinov, Volkan as a slight dog, Shara, Calvin Gastelum, Volkan as a slight dog, and that was a motherfucking pick switch. Originally, my gut, my 60-second predictions, I was like Sergey, but then I said, nah, man, Volkov needs a little bit more respect put on his name. Let me go ahead back in the, you know, dig a little deeper and upon further investigation, I came to the conclusion that Volkov was the pick, man. So that pick switch came all the way through. The pick switches come through more times than they don't. You understand what I'm saying to you? But Volkov was a slight dog, man. And Bobby Knuckles was a slight dog in the main event against Ikram. What's wrong with y'all, man? Told y'all what Bobby was gonna do, man. You feel what I'm saying to you? 8-3 all together on the card, man. He cashed quite fucking nicely, you know what I mean? And then two of the most talked about fights of the week was Julian Rosa against Christian Rodriguez and Montel Jackson against Damon Blackshear. And I had y'all on the right side of both of them. I told y'all Julian Rosa was going to wrap him up and get him up out of there. And I told y'all Montel was going to hurt that man. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? Listen, on top of that, also gave you Luana, gave you Jasmine as a slight dog. You know what I mean? Gabrielle and Rose, you feel me, in the main event. Wasn't my best night, you know what I'm talking about? I went 6-5 as far as picks are concerned, but I cashed quite nicely, man, on the, I had motherfucking Montel Jackson, double chance, KO, TKO, or points, and motherfucking Julian Rosa via submission. And that wrapped in a parlay. You know, that cashed quite nicely for me, man. Like I said, though, wasn't my best night. Again, after that, Wasn't my best night, man, as far as picks goes. I gave you Thomas, I gave you Luana Carolina, I gave you Trey as a slight dog, Miranda Maverick, and Steve. I went 5 for 6, man. I had more losses than I had victories on that card. It wasn't my best one. That's how the ball bounces and the cookie crumbles sometimes, though, man. You know what I'm talking about? I stand on mines around here. UFC 304, man, was after that. I gave y'all Shona, I gave y'all Mick, I gave y'all Sam, and I gave y'all Oban as a solid underdog. You know what I mean? I gave you Muhammad, and I gave you Bruna as a solid underdog. I also gave you Nathaniel, Arnold, and Tom. I went 10-4 as far as picks go. I cashed quite nicely, though, because the foundation that I gave y'all to build them parlays off of held very fucking strong. They were very solid, as I said they would be. Tom, Sam, Nathaniel, Arnold, Mick, and Muhammad. They held strong. You understand what I'm saying to you? Let's move on. Because then it was the 5 most talked about fights of the week. If I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 most talked about fights of the week on this card right here. And I had you on the right side of every fucking one of them. You know what I'm talking about? Told you what Umar was going to do to Corey Sandhagen. I told you how Davison Figueroa was going to come through and secure that motherfucking victory. I told you McKenzie was the side to be on against Lupi, and I absolutely told y'all what the fuck Joe Alvarez was going to do to Elvis Brenner, because durability has an expiration date, and there's levels to this shit. You understand what I'm saying to you? Also, to go along with all of that good shit, which happened to also be a main card sweep as far as parlays are concerned that week, because we had Shara up in there for the 5th leg, and Tony versus Michael Chiesa was a swap out situation. It affected my pick percentage because I chose Tony. Fuck it, that's the dog. So I rocked with him in that fight, but it wasn't in the main parlays. You understand what I'm saying to you? It was a swap out leg. The main parlays absolutely sweeped on the main card. It was Umar Nurmagomedov, Davison Figueroa, Mackenzie Dern, Joe Alvarez, and Shara Magomedov. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? But like I said, along with that, we gave you Azmat Shamil and Cedricus, man. You feel me? To go for 8 and 5. Not mad about it. And cash nicely on the main card. You feel what I'm saying to you? That's just how that go, man. And then after that, incoming was Stephanie Youssef to swap out, you know, 2 swap out picks of the week. One of them being Denise, dog at plus 170. I gave you Carol. Kazama was the second swap out pick of the week. Dog at plus 210. You feel me? And then Chris, Danny, Chris, Danny, and Chepe. You know what I'm talking about? And that foundation held up quite fucking nicely. You know what I'm talking about? Because that foundation consisted of, originally, it was Javid, Alan, Danny, and Chepe. But then Javid went and Alan went, and I added in Carol and Chris. But Chris was so significant of a favorite, it didn't really mean much. But either way, that foundation held up nice and was able to go ahead and cash there quite fucking nicely. Now here we are, UFC 305, man. I gave you the Jesus pick as a dog. I gave you Song as one of my most confident picks on the card. Of course, I gave you Tom and Jack. Who the fuck didn't? But I also gave you Ricardo as a confident underdog to come through on the card, along with Los and Biggie Boy as a confident heavyweight pick. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? Listen, at the end of the day, I missed by a few. You know, I was on point by a few more. You feel what I'm saying to you? And the Jesus and Ricardo 2-leg dog play paid quite nicely. Not to mention, for the individuals that I offered the parlay to in the comment section, and whether I covered it in the parlay video or not, I can't quite remember. I had to go back and check. I had to look at my paperwork. But you know what I'm saying? If you wanted to stay away from the heavyweight and you wanted to stay away from the female on the heavyweight MMA and the female MMA bout on the prelims, it was a prelim. The prelim parlay legs was good, man, because I gave you Tom, Jack, and Song to build off of. If you didn't want to build off of Tom, Jack, Song, and Luana, it was completely understandable. And if you didn't want to have a heavyweight match up in there, it was completely understandable. So Tom, Jack, and Song was the foundation to build off of on the prelims and you toss in Jesus and Ricardo as your motherfucking fourth and fifth leg, and boy, did that cash quite nicely as well. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, all in all, in this last card, I invested about 5 units into that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? The play that I had on Jesus and Ricardo wrapped together in 2 legs brought me back a little bit over 10 units, and the play that I had, you know what I'm talking about, on the 5 of them wrapped together at a half a unit brought me back a little bit over 5. You know what I'm talking about? So all in all, I got my money back plus about, you know, close to a stack, man. So it is what it is, man. You know what I'm talking about? And it ain't what it ain't. You know what I mean? I love them prelim sweeps. I love them main card sweeps. I love them whole card sweeps. I love the parlay sweeps. I love any sweep in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I do my absolute best to try to make that shit happen. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, man. That's been the journey. That's been the movie. That's been the ride that we've been on since late March when I tapped in. Now I'm talking about, you can respect it or you can choose not to do so. You can stay tapped in or you can choose to tap the fuck out. You understand what I'm saying to you? First and foremost, this is a parlay channel, man. Everything else, I do my absolute best to tend to in detail, you know, to the best of my abilities, man. You know what I mean? I don't ask nobody for shit. I'm not asking nobody for shit. You tapped in, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you continuing to tap in. If you ever feel the need to tap out, that is your option to do so. For the foreseeable future or indefinitely. You understand what I'm saying to you? I'ma still be here, man. Whether 1 motherfucker, 100 motherfucker, 1,000 motherfuckers, or 100,000 motherfuckers tap in to see what the fuck I got to say. Because at the end of the day, it's all just my personal opinion, man. You know what I'm talking about? Appreciate y'all for tapping in.